The Jets win. How about that? Final score of 27-24. Your New York Jets get their third victory of the season. Nick Folk hits from 56 yards out. And your New York Jets get their third victory of the season. Aaron Glenn goes out there. It wasn't a perfect game. The defense was fantastic in the first half, but then it kind of started to play really poor in that third quarter. But the defense stepped up when it mattered the most late in that fourth quarter. The offense started off really not playing good football, but then the offense woke up when it mattered the most in the second half. Tyrod Taylor in the fourth quarter was fantastic. The aggressiveness to A.D. Mitchell having a breakout game. 8 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown for A.D. Mitchell. Welcome to the New York Jets, A.D. Mitchell, man. It was John Mechie the 2 games prior who had a touchdown in both games. We're all excited about Mechie. A.D. Mitchell slowly figuring out the offense, having some drops. People are worried. But how about A.D. Mitchell, man? That 52-yard touchdown throw from Tyrod. A.D. Mitchell gets open. He catches it. What a win for the New York Jets. There's so many things to like about this game, and I want to give Aaron Glenn himself credit right now because there was a lot of things in this game that he did that I liked. Wasn't perfect. He did not have, every move he made wasn't perfect. Of course, there were some things he still needs to improve on, but at the end of the day, he had this team prepared without Garrett Wilson, with all these players being shipped away. Sauce Gardner's gone. Quinnen Williams is gone. They're still able to win this game. The Jets defense, in my opinion, they did enough to win this football game, and they did not stop fighting until the end. That's the thing about this team that I necessarily love the most, man. They're not afraid to keep fighting, keep clawing. And you saw the Jets, when they had a chance to go out there and win the game, they get sacked. 10-yard sack, and you're like, oh, brother, now we just got to hope for that the Jets defense can hold them and we go to overtime. But no, the defense forces 3 straight incompletions. The Falcons give the ball back to the Jets. Tyrod Taylor picking up plays with his legs, throwing the ball down the field, gets them into field goal range. 12 seconds left on the clock, no timeouts, and the Jets are just going to try to snap in, throw the ball out of bounds to just bring the clock down, so the Falcons have no chance, even if the Jets hit the field goal or not, and they get a false start. Everybody but the center, false start, back him up 5 yards. Nick Folk, who missed a field goal earlier in the game for the first time this season from 55, he hits the 56-yard field goal for the win. Now, that is massive stuff. Nick Folk and the special teams in general deserves a lot of credit. One of the touchdowns the Jets got was from Breece Hall, and that was set up, of course, from the special teams unit. Austin McNamara, the punter, is a legit weapon, okay? Quantez Stiggers recovers the muffed punt from the Atlanta Falcons, and the Jets got the ball inside the 5-yard line. First and goal. The first play was a touchdown walking in from Breece Hall himself. And I feel like this game was all about all 3 phases of the ball really stepped up. They were not consistent, right? Besides special teams. I mean, you can say Nick Folk missing was an inconsistency, of course, but I felt like we saw really good things from all 3 phases of the ball today, and we also saw some really bad things. But the good thing is they won the game, right? You can build off things off of wins, and I understand there's a lot of people right now, Jets fans included, that are just really upset that we lost a meaningless game. I really just would invite you to not worry about that, because these players and these coaches, they're fighting and clawing out, figuring out ways to win games. And if you're just over obsessive and you're just upset right now that they won a game, like, come on, man. Aaron Glenn got his 3rd win as a Jets head coach. They got Tyrod Taylor out there as a veteran, throwing the ball to guys they just traded for that are their 2 starting receivers a few weeks ago. Like, they're building something from scratch. And the fact that they're able to figure out a way to win a football game the way that they did in the weather, it's pretty impressive to me, man. It absolutely is impressive to me. And I got to give a lot of credit to Tyrod, bro, because a lot of people clowning him and a lot of people are coming into my YouTube channel during my live watch parties and telling me, like, every little throw that Tyrod has that's not good. Huh? See? Told you. Justin Fields should be playing. And I'm like, why are we making this about Tyrod versus Justin? Okay? The reason why the Jets went to Tyrod is exactly the reason what we saw today. Okay, he can make the big-time throws when you need him to. He can make the throws outside the numbers. He can throw the ball 50-plus yards when you need him to. And he can make plays with his legs. He had the game-tying touchdown with his legs. 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line, stepping up, making a big-time play with his legs. Brought the Jets into field goal range. Tyrod Taylor was a huge reason why the Jets won this football game. Absolutely why. All right, and I understand there's a giant debate, but like, let's relax with the whole Justin Fields deserves this and that. Like, it's not about that anymore. It's about the collective nature of the squad around him. A.D. Mitchell, 8 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. That's not happening with Fields at quarterback. That is why the New York Jets went to Tyrod at quarterback. It's not just to try to win football games. It's to give A.D. Mitchell the volume he deserves, to give him all the targets, to allow him to get comfortable in this offense so we can build an offense around A.D. Mitchell, Garrett Wilson, John Mechie, Mason Taylor, hopefully Breece Hall returning, right? That's the goal here. That's what the Jets are trying to do. Tanner Engstrand as an offensive coordinator today, up and down. You saw some bad calls, you saw some good calls, but at the end of the day, they executed when it matters the most. That's all that matters right here. That's all that matters. The Jets were the underdogs in this game. They went in at home, 2 wins on the season, and they're going up against an Atlanta Falcons team with Kirk Cousins at quarterback, who is a very solid veteran quarterback with all the weapons he needs. Drake London was out, but hey, we don't have Garrett Wilson, so it evens out. And the Jets were still able to fight back. There was a point in this game where the Falcons took the lead, and everyone was just like, yep, that's it. The Jets are just going to lose it, and we're going to get blown out. Like, no, like, this team has fight. They have resilience. They're not afraid to keep clawing, and that's the mindset that Aaron Glenn is trying to implement here. He really wants to get people that are bought into his system, and the best way you can get players to buy into what Aaron Glenn is building is by showing the results and winning. Winning cures all, folks. And I understand at this point in the season, wins don't really feel meaningful because we're not fighting for a playoff berth. We're not fighting for a wild card or anything. But this stage of the season, they're learning on the fly. The Jets need to figure out a way to come together collectively and win football games. So when next season comes around, there's going to be an absolute, I can't even put in the words how many new players are coming to this team next year. New quarterback, new weapons, new players on everything is going to be new next year in terms of personnel. We're going to see a complete overhaul, trades, free agency, draft, and then next year we're going to keep the same guys that are impacting this team right now. And then that's the goal, is to build off of these types of wins. And I think these types of wins do mean something, man. I genuinely do. Breece Hall deserves a lot of credit as well. Like, he keeps showing us why the Jets should really open up the paycheck for him. Like, if you're the Jets and you're looking at the offseason, one of their first plans of actions should be going out there and paying Breece Hall, because he is a big piece to this offense. He went out there and was the workhorse. He stepped up in the fourth quarter, picked up big-time plays with his legs when he asked him to. Let's go into the box score and see what Breece Hall did. 19 carries, 68 yards, 3.6 yards per attempt, and a touchdown. And he had some plays through the air as well. I really love what Breece Hall is doing, man. He did not break it out. He did not explode for 250 yards or from the line of scrimmage or anything like that. But he made big-time plays when you needed him to the most. So shout out to Breece Hall on offense. He had a heck of a game. Now, the star of this game is A.D. Mitchell, bro. It absolutely is, man, because he had 12 targets and had 8 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown. Are you kidding me? If you had him in PPR and fantasy football, he had 24 points. You best believe he's going to be a big commodity on the waiver wire across fantasy football, because Adonai Mitchell, he has and by the way, I want to remind everybody, that was A.D. Mitchell's first career touchdown. I know, it's hard to believe, but this is just his second year in the league. He did not have 1 touchdown with the Colts. Not 1. He was able to go out there and look like an absolute stud. This is why you cannot rule out a guy like A.D. Mitchell after having a really bad Jets debut with 3 drops. And then last game, he had like 2 catches. And then now you're seeing it why. Like, he looked today like a true number 1 receiver. Your X-receiver that can make the big plays, go vertical, get open, create separation, quality hands, sideline, toe drag, swag, whatever you want to call it. Oh, and by the way, let me remind everybody something. A.D. Mitchell's not the Jets' number 1 receiver. Garrett Wilson is still a part of this football team. I know some people may have forgot because of the reason why the Jets, we don't have him on the team right now. He's hurt. But Garrett Wilson is eligible to return next week. We don't know if he's going to be healthy or not. But the fact that A.D. Mitchell is getting this number 1 receiver type of looks right now with the 12 targets and getting the volume, getting comfortable, that's a very good sign. John Mechie III, he had a very bad game today. 2 drops on 3rd down. Can't happen. It's weird because A.D. Mitchell, he had a tough start. John Mechie was the guy we were excited about, and now it kind of flipped. Now A.D. Mitchell's the star. John Mechie's the guy that people are upset with. Let me just say this. We're not throwing John Mechie to the curb because he had 2 drops in a game. I saw some people when that play happened, they're like, oh, John Mechie's a bum. We got to get rid of him. Let's cut him. I mean, dude, did you want to cut A.D. Mitchell when he had 3 drops in his Jets debut? Are we forgetting what John Mechie did the 2 games leading into this game? He had 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards in 2 games combined. And we're just going to forget that and just look at the 2 drops and say we're done with John Mechie? No. I mean, I'm always somebody that believes that guys deserve second chances. And you know who else got a second chance that deserves credit right now? Isaiah Williams, an underrated player on this football team. And Aaron Glenn deserves a lot of credit for this because Xavier Gipson, he's the one that got cut. After week 1, he fumbles the kickoff. The Jets cut him. And then all of a sudden, we're assuming that's the mindset. If you make a mistake, you're off. You're off the team. That was the mindset. The Jets replace Xavier Gipson with Isaiah Williams, who they plucked from the Cincinnati Bengals practice squad. And then week 3 or 4 against the Miami Dolphins on Monday Night Football, what happens? He has the worst game you can imagine, Isaiah Williams. He fumbles a kickoff return, and he does a fair catch at the 2-yard line. It's like, who is this guy? He stinks. Everybody was like, cut this guy, cut him. But Aaron Glenn did not cut him. He said, I'm going to give Isaiah Williams a chance to learn from those mistakes because they believe in Isaiah Williams. They went in the scouting team, the scouting department on the Jets, single-handedly went out there and found him. They brought him to the Jets for a reason. They did not just say, okay, he had 2 mistakes, you're cut. They gave him another chance. And now look at Isaiah Williams. He was Special Teams Player of the Week a few weeks ago. And now today, he had that huge kickoff return that set up the Jets with 3 points. Should have been a touchdown on that possession, but it wasn't. And that's just an example of why you cannot be so quick to just throw guys out when they make a mistake or 2. Let these young guys learn. That's what this season is about right now. Evaluation, learning on the fly. And I get it's football, and I get these guys are getting paid millions of dollars, and there's no room for error. But I'm somebody that believes at this stage that when they're building something from scratch like the Jets are doing right now, and I know people are like, the Jets have been building something from scratch for 50 years. Yeah, okay, that's a funny joke. But at the end of the day, this is a new version of the Jets. Because of Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, there's a fresh mind. So I think it's a little unfair to put Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji in the same conversation of the previous 50 years of the Jets that led them to this point. I think they deserve a fresh start. They deserve a fresh slate. And right now we're seeing them lay their foundation. A struggle first season, only 3 wins, 3-9, not a good record at all. They need to be better next year, no doubt about it. But they deserve a chance to kind of figure out a way to get their guys in this building to start playing good football. And it's all going to come down to a quarterback they bring in next offseason, which we'll talk about tirelessly all offseason. But how about the quarterback that played for the Jets today? Tyrod Taylor. I mean, his numbers are actually really good. He went 19 for 33, 172 yards, averaged 9.1 yards per attempt, had a touchdown and a rushing touchdown to go along with 44 rushing yards. Tyrod did not turn the ball over. He was making big-time plays. He made winning plays. And that's what I respect about Tyrod Taylor, which is why we talked about it earlier, which is why the people that always tell me that I don't know why they're going to Tyrod instead of Justin Fields, like this game right here is the perfect example of why the Jets are going with Tyrod. Nobody is saying Tyrod is elite. Nobody is saying he's great. But what Tyrod can do is make the plays in the clutch and make winning type of plays. Make the throws outside the numbers when it's a 3rd down. Give the ball to your receivers, giving them opportunities to make plays. Right? He's not perfect. He makes mistakes. He makes bad throws. He takes sacks here and there. But it's not the same thing over and over, right? He finished the game with over 170 yards passing. That's not lighting it up, but that's doing enough to win the game. And I think he's opportunistic and did what he needed to do. So I think that what Tyrod Taylor did today proved to me that the Jets are making the right decision of having Tyrod be the starting quarterback right now instead of Justin Fields. That's just how I feel about it because I really do believe a guy like A.D. Mitchell does not have a stat line of 8 catches at 100-plus yards and a touchdown if Justin Fields was throwing the football. It's just that simple, man. It's nothing against Justin personally, rooting for him, but at the end of the day, his strengths, Justin, is running. It's not passing. Tyrod's strengths is passing, and he can still run. It's not like Tyrod can't run, man. At 35 years old, he could still run. It's not like he's a liability at the mobility standpoint at the quarterback spot. He had 44 yards and a rushing touchdown. I mean, that's like as good as you can get for a running quarterback in this league. Like, when you talk about a dual threat quarterback and you say, oh, yeah, he had 40-plus yards and a touchdown as a quarterback on the ground, that's great. So shout out to Tyrod, man. Really good stuff there. And I got to go back to the special teams because the special teams is such a big piece of this football team, man. Chris Banjo, the special teams coordinator, has been flawless this season, man. They literally are like perfect across the board. It's like kicks, field goals, punts, kickoff returns, kickoff coverage. Like, everything has been fantastic this year, man. And it's like one of those phases that not a lot of people really care about because it's not flashy, it's not fun, but you can win games on special teams. One of the 3 Jets victories this season was because of special teams alone. That was against the Browns. This game, it wasn't just because of the special teams, but oh boy, did they have a real big reason why. 7 points, you can argue, was because of the special teams unit. That muffed punt, recovering it, McNamara pinning them deep, Nick Folk hitting the game-winning field goal after missing one earlier. It's just really cool to have a special teams unit like that because Chris Banjo deserves the credit, man. He deserves the credit. And let me also remind you guys about the elements today. The element of the weather was brutal today. The weather was awful today, right? The Jets had to go out there and play in a environment that was all rainy and gross. And they were still able to execute, establish their run game. And it felt like the Jets went into this game with some type of energy that they stuck to their beliefs. And what I mean by that is the Jets are really trying to establish something that they really wholeheartedly believe in. And they're not abandoning that. And what that means is basically their foundation of running the football, setting up the play action, playing complementary, fundamental, physical football. Now, if you want to get into some things that needs to get cleaned up, the penalties. The penalties are still a little bit of an issue. The Jets had one too many penalties for my liking today. And I think that if you're the Jets, you got to go out there and play better and more disciplined. That's something that needs to get cleaned up, no doubt about it, 110%. But at the end of the day, I feel like it was not back-breaking penalties that lost him the game. The 2 drops from John Mechie and the penalties, Armand Membu had 2 false start penalties. That's not a good sign for the rookie. The everybody but the center penalty before the game-winning field goal, not a good look there. So those types of penalties got to get cleaned up because that's not a good sign. And I feel like the penalties, from the most part, they have been pretty clean up until this game. Earlier on in the season, the penalties were a big problem. But then all of a sudden, the penalties kind of got cleaned up. And this game, they kind of revealed themselves again. They definitely revealed themselves. And I want to remind everybody that the New York Jets, they have a big, big offseason coming up. Like, they have 8 picks in the next 2 years in the first 2 rounds. That's absurd. The creativity the Jets can do right now with these picks, off the charts. Off the charts of what they can do with these. So, wins like this, I know upsets people because of whatever. Whether it's the draft picks or whatever the case may be, I'm not really stressed about that. I'm worried about this moment, and I like that the Jets were able to win a football game. And I understand that, you know, they're 3-9. There's no reason to be excited about the future right now because they're not making the playoffs. But I'm going to be a happy fan, and I'm going to enjoy the victory because the Jets don't give us these victories often. So why be upset and be miserable? Because there's some people that there's no pleasing. Either the Jets lose and you blame the coach and the Jets stink and the Jets are miserable and why am I a fan of this team? Or the Jets win and it's meaningless. Why do they win? The Jets can't even lose properly. So, like, there's no pleasing some people, right? I'm not built that way. I'm going to appreciate what happens. I go into the games with an open mind. Whether I root for a win or root for a loss, I have zero impact about what happens on the field, so why over-obsess over it? I'm just going to let the game come as a fan perspective and let the game reveal itself, and then at the end of the season, when the season's wrapped up after Week 18, I will see what the Jets are drafting, and that's where we fire up the mock drafts, baby. That's when we fire it up. I appreciate everybody for tuning into this video, man. Had to give you guys my post-game recap right here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below your thoughts of the New York Jets victory over the Atlanta Falcons with a final score of 27-24. Cannot thank you guys enough for tuning in to this post game for the New York Jets dub over the Atlanta Falcons, baby. Let's go. Have to give a big shout out to Sleeper for being the proud sponsor of Jets Media all season long. If you guys have not checked them out by now, what are you waiting for? They got the awesome player prop bets. You can build a great parlay to win some cash over there on the Sleeper app. Use my code JETS for a 100% deposit match up to $100. They're also giving you $20 for free immediately when you sign up. So why wouldn't you do that? Please bet responsibly. Legal in 25 states. Terms and conditions apply. Always a big shout out to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the channel. Thank you guys so much for staying to the end of the video. If you did, comment down below a Statue of Liberty emoji. Yeah, I'm switching it up to see who's staying to the end. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts were of this Jets win. I love winning games, man, as a Jets fan. Love being a fan of a team that actually wins, even though it's just 3 wins and they're 3-9. I understand it, but let me know in the comments your thoughts right now. Jets win, baby. I'll see you next time. Peace.